Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Election Tuesday. I hope you all got out there and voted already. Is that the right? Voted? I don't know. That sounds weird. I hope you had the chance to vote. That sounds a little more professional. And if you hadn't, I hope you're in line today doing it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. My close friends know where I lean. Anyway, I promise that's it. Anyhow, today, back with another episode. This is a great one because I met this individual, this friend of mine, back in 2011. And, you know, if there's one thing this life has shown me, it's, you know, I have my friends that I met in junior high and high school, some of which, I said junior high, some of which I do keep in touch with still to this day. Obviously high school. And then there's people I met in college and later on in life. And the one parallel as I got older was even though I met them at work or whatever the case may be, when I hit it off with them right away in a certain special way, I know, we would have been friends. And I think I've said this before on the podcast. We would have been friends in high school, or we would have been friends in junior high. We just hadn't met yet. That's all this is. Like, now I met you and I'll probably to some capacity know you for the rest of my life. This guy is one of those guys. I met him through his brother, Mr. Adrian Alvarez, who was a cool dude. He was, at the time, seemingly much younger than me. I don't know our age difference, but it seemed like this dude was like 21 forever when I was already married with kids, and him making fun of me for that situation while he was still out there dirt biking and breaking his pelvis and everything else. And then I went to work for Adrian's company, Integrated. It's not around anymore, I don't believe. Doing my first construction job. And I met the foreman on the job, Mr. Frank Alvarez, who's here with us today. And from day one, we hit it off. I don't know if he remembers. I think I brought it up to him before, but... and this is no knock on what I'm about to say, the place, but we changed out, or we put all these condensers on the roof, and I don't remember what the situation was, but they ordered, and I apologize, people who are non-technical, but they ordered like 75% of these things came with these condenser fan motors that were from Mexico, and the other 25% came from, I don't know, Japan or somewhere. And the ones that came from Mexico were all broken. I'll just put it that way for layman's terms. And me and this guy spent an entire workday just chatting and changing out condenser fan motors pretty much the whole day. And then I think another day just hiding out from the boss who may have showed up at any time and just chatting about life. And we had a lot in common. With no further ado, Mr. Frank Alvarez. What's up, man?
How you doing, Steve? How you been?
I'm good. I am healing up. My foot all wrapped up in bandages and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that job like it was yesterday.
Good old CSUN.
CSUN. That feels like it was only 5 years ago. Like, man, it's been a minute.
I look
back and I've already been in the trade for 24 years, and it feels like I've only been in it 10 maybe. But
you've been in the trade now 24 years?
I got in 2000.
Oh, okay. Oh, dang, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 40. I'll be 47 in a couple of weeks. So
we're right around the same age then. Yeah, we're both 46. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but I just wish I was as fit as you, man. That's hard.
Oh, I don't know about that. That has a cost, and right now it's costing me an ankle with bone anchors.
Yeah, I feel you, man. But no, man, I'm glad to be on. I've been listening to all your episodes as they come out. It's just entertaining. I've never been a podcast guy, so this is a first for me, obviously, but listening to your podcast is just entertaining, man. I feel like you're still here. You know, we used to
thank
talk
you. I
all the
really
time,
appreciate that.
I'm not one to leave comments. Don't even know what to leave on a comment for you, but
No, hey, it's all cool. Good. What you just said is a great comment enough. And doing this podcast, it makes me feel like I'm still home sometimes, depending on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes it tough to stay on topic because all I want to do is ask, like, hey, is that sandwich shop off of like Saticoy and such? Is that still open? The one where they had no seating and you had to sit on the curb, eat your sandwich? Like, I have questions, meaningless.
I don't even
questions.
Get out. I still hit you up for some places that I've never even been to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, West Covina. Oh, hey, you guys are near, what is it, El Tepeyac? Is that still there?
But the original is still on Evergreen. That's the one you got to go to.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I know.
I thought you meant West Covina. Oh, yeah, the one on Evergreen? Oh, yeah, that place is still there. My kids chewed me out for not taking them years ago. And
my grandfather used to go with his best friend every Saturday morning for breakfast there. That's how I know about that place.
Oh, yeah. Well, now you know why I'm not as fit as you are, because I keep eating at places like that.
Oh, dude, that was the whole reason. That was the whole reason I had to run 10 miles. I was back then when I met you, I was running about 50 miles a week. And that was just I would leave the job, run, and go to the gym, do my thing. Because remember, we started, I think that job was, like 5 a.m. to whatever.
Oh, that's my go-to start time, yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, shoot.
5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I was a beast back then, but life makes you slow down. Injuries make you slow down. But I still try to stay in shape. My kids, my daughters, now that they're older, they've only seen me in shape. So we went to Destin. I think it was the last time we went, and my younger daughter, like, she's on it when it comes to stuff, and she's like, Daddy, I'm looking at your body, and you have those things on your sides. And I was like, what? Talking about, like, I knew what I had on my sides. I'm like, shut up. she's like, your stomach, you don't have that 6-pack right now. I said, hey, geez. I just went through back surgery, and now my ankle, I'm wearing a brace that I had on for a year. I said, Daddy's gonna be back, don't worry. I'm like, God dang it, stop looking at me. But yeah, no. All right, so you know how the podcast works, sir. I would imagine. Based on what you said. So I am very curious. I do not know. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
This is going to make your audience laugh a little bit. As a kid, we used to have, I remember back in middle school, we used to have career day. Mm-hmm. And everybody, you had your firefighters, you had your cops, your maybe nurses would show up. But honestly, back in the day, I'm an outdoors person. I could not ever see myself working in an office, even at that young age. I wanted to do something that was outdoors.
Gotcha.
To this day, I get home and I just want to be outside. I just can't be in the house. But back then, I wanted to be a lifeguard at the beach.
Lifeguard at the,
that was my thing. I love going to the beach. I love swimming in the ocean. And I was thinking, you know what? I would like to be a lifeguard and just chill on the beach all day, just enjoying the sun. It just, to me, it just got my attention. But obviously I didn't go that route, but that was just my, that was what I would always, contemplate being like a lifeguard.
I had, not to cut you off, but I have a question. And you sparked my mind. You're already answering the question. I haven't asked it, I don't believe, on this podcast yet, but it's always been something that if I'm in a real conversation with someone, because it tells me who they are, I go, what would you do for a living? Like, let's just say, and I'm not saying this because it's election Tuesday, but if we lived in a perfect, which can never exist, people, a communist nation where everybody made the exact same amount and got food rations and government health care and all that. Didn't matter. Doctor, lawyer, ice cream scooper. That would have been
You're making the same. Yeah.
What would you do for a living? That was actually, it's funny we're talking about this. That was actually going to be my original question versus what did you want to be when you were growing up. There isn't too much to go on after answering what you would do if money didn't matter. But yeah. Mine was I would scoop ice cream because no one is ever in a bad mood when they're coming to get ice cream from you. And
no.
I mean, when are you in a bad mood? Like, you're in a bad mood if you're going to the movies sometimes, you know, lots of scenarios. But if you're going to get ice cream, you know the ice cream's going to be good. Even bad ice cream is decent, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing I got to have at Disneyland before we leave most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Big old waffle cone, Jack. Don't start. Yeah. You guys still got chimichangas over there?
Where?
At Disneyland. We don't have them in Florida. Oh, man. I used to tear those bad boys up. They got too much stuff.
Yep. I'm hooked on those chile relleno burritos.
See, you know, I don't even know what you're talking about. We don't. Where do you get that?
Next
Disney,
time I
California,
go and get
or
one,
what?
I'm gonna send you a picture of it next time.
I bet you will. I bet you will. Yeah.
But no, I mean, back to that, like what you mentioned, if it was a perfect world and everybody made the same, I still would love to work on a farm. Like, I wish I could be around animals, horses. I used to love, man, that'd be my dream. I always wanted to live in a ranch. Because I was, as a teenager, we would always go to Mexico. My mom's small hometown in Sonora, Mexico. And it's only a 10-hour drive from here. So we would go for about 3 weeks, and I honestly, when I go there, I did not want to come back home. Like, I just wanted to stay there, work with my uncles in the fields, and just horseback ride. And man, there was one time we went, and he woke me up one morning, and he goes, "Hey, let's go check on my cows." And I'm thinking, okay, we're just gonna drive to his little stalls that he has, and he threw 2 saddles on the back of his truck. And we take off to his fields. He has apple orchards. And he saddled up 2 horses. And I'm thinking, we're just going to chill there in that little corral. And we take off, Keith. We're on a trail that only he knows, that are no signs. It's just picture this rural place.
How old were you?
Just like, I was about 12, 13.
Oh, dang. Wow.
And we were we rode for hours. And I was like, dude, I could not find my way back if I even tried. And we come up to this top of this mountain, and you could see the town that we came from as far as your eye can see. He's like, there's the town we just left. And I'm like, man, this is so beautiful. I can't even explain to you how open and free it felt to be up there. But I just, as a kid, I always loved being around animals. And that never happened, but
right.
That would have been my dream. Yeah. That would have been my dream to live somewhere like that. And that would be ideal for me, to be able to go outside, feed the animals, and maintain like a ranch style stuff. I say that now, but yeah,
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I feel the exact same way. When we drive to Florida, and I won't get on another rant, people, I promise, but when you drive to this magical land of Destin that I speak of often, you have to go through Alabama. And it's not like, at least in my experience, it's not like, the movies where like, whoa, you're going through Alabama, you better be careful. No, I mean, you might see a Confederate flag, which I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because there is. Right. And in my opinion, if somebody is posting or putting a Confederate flag on something now in this social climate, they must really be that way as opposed to before. Like, they know how things are now. Like, it's so weird and, gross. But anyhow, when you're going through Alabama, though, there are some areas, and I always mess with my wife. I'm like, because I've played this game since I was a kid. When I was, my parents, we'd drive to Mammoth or we'd drive to Yosemite, and I would just look out the window and I'd see like, maybe a shopping center and nothing else. And I'd go, can you live out here? How would you get, there's the grocery store or whatever. Okay. And then as I got older, it's like, Okay, you're on the run. It's just my imagination. You're on the run from the law. You killed somebody. How long before you? I bet if you stayed at that motel, nobody would tell anything, and you could live off the Dollar Tree right there. Yeah. You would last for months. Just use cash. So when you're in Alabama and you're driving through these rural areas, was it Neal, Alabama, I believe is one of the towns, and some other ones, you come across that, what you just said. And I dream when I'm looking out, I always tell my wife, I go, boy, and it's kind of messed up, but it's because she doesn't want to go to a place so rural. But I go, can you imagine at night, all you got is the moonlight? She's, that's terrible. I said, no, you're in the middle of you'll just see a huge lake and homes around it that are kind of simple, or a home. I go, if I live there, as an older man, not now, but if I live there, have like you said, have some animals and have a nice barn. And I know this isn't California, Keith. That Keith is gone. I just do my woodwork and just all day, just table saw, just doing my thing, building stuff. And I said, and at night, all the animals, because there's deer that run, even where I live, there's deer that run all day, all night. You see them all the time. You just get used to it. My dog sees them, owls, big old white owls. You see all kinds of animals. So I know when I see those rural areas, it's oh, man, that would just be you might as well get a friggin' coonskin hat. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
But so you guys,
that was my dream.
You guys got to the top of this mountain. What happened?
And he just knows where his cows would roam, and he'd go check on them and make sure that they're all still healthy, no broken bones or anything like that, because it's just, up and down these hills. And he knew where these little natural water streams were at, and we would just get off our horses and just drink water right out of the stream.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, it's
that is
crazy.
Something I've never done. Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't do it now, thinking there was a cow using the restroom right up the hill.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'll eat raw sushi, but I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that tells you about me, but yeah.
But there was some steep hills he would take us up, and we were like, dude, we got to go up that. And there was one instance where the horse had to jump up the hill. And I literally,
heck no.
I don't know the name of the saddle where the ball is in the front, but if I had not held on to that, I would have just been left midair. It was just crazy. But it was an experience, and it's something I never forgot to this day. And it's just one of my highlights, back in my childhood.
Totally. You'd have to pay, like I say, there's certain simple things in this life like that, where you would have to pay some expensive dude ranch to, you want to have an excursion? You want to go?
Yeah. It's going to cost you $7,000 for a week
exactly.
or something like that.
Exactly. When I watch the movie Grown Ups, I always say to myself, if I won the lottery, I think I would do that. I would invite 10 families, to this huge cabin where we didn't even have to see each other in the morning, but we all meet up. All the boys meet up, and we go play basketball and drink, chill out, get on a boat, just go to a crazy water park. I'm that's on my list if I win 30 million or something. Jeff, Trey, Plez. I'm just gonna name a whole bunch of people. The twins. Adrian, you, everybody. It would just be one crazy wild deal.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Oh man, my brother, just my brother. I can't wait for you to have him on, but I know you're gonna have to.
Yeah, he's still a wild man. My gosh,
he's still you called it earlier. He's still living his 21-year-old life.
Yeah, for real. I remember when he's 21. He's wait, how old is he now?
He's 36. We're 11 years apart.
That much time has passed.
Yes. He's 36, and he still hasn't slowed down. He could still hang with the best of them. But, yeah, I can't even try. I'd love to.
36, man.
Yeah.
Adrian's 36. Huh.
Yeah. I'll be 47, so, yeah, it's 11 years apart. The kid, yeah.
Wow. And he's the baby, right?
He is the baby of us four. Oh, yeah, well, not to throw off another topic, but now there's five of us.
Huh?
Um, we have a sister that is in her, I want to say early 60s that my dad just found out. Well, we knew about her as kids growing up, right? My dad would always tell us, oh, when I was 15, I had a daughter, and he lost contact with her instant when she was born, right? And turns out she's just recently, like just last year, she tracked down my dad, and it was yeah. She's another now. She comes over to our parties now, and we
Oh.
see her once in a while. It's crazy, but she's like a split image of my dad. It's like, yeah, you can't deny that one.
No, no, you can't.
Yeah, so there's five of us now.
Oh, this begs a question. Could you see that happening to you? I mean, I'm not saying I'm not.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think about that sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
we knew about her,
no,
but yeah, no, I
no,
cannot.
I couldn't. I mean, like if you honestly didn't know, and someone showed up at your door. I remember we were watching some movie oh, it was
Yeah,
Elf because it's one of my favorite scenes in Elf where I'm like, yeah, right. That is not how real life would go when he's telling his wife of obviously married
yeah,
her later in life. It just seems that way because they got the young kid. And she's like, this is so amazing. You have a son. That's
yeah,
incredible.
kid.
And I'm like, I don't know one woman that's going to be like,
That
oh,
acceptance.
how exciting. I was like,
Yeah,
shoot, Jack.
yeah. You'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, this marriage is over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hands down. Like, I asked my wife, I said, hey, what would you do in that situation? Because we were watching the movie. It's many years ago. And she was like, I'm gone. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I said, this man is a grown adult. He decided to be an elf. I said, but he's a grown adult. He's not
Yeah.
15 and our daughter is 19. Like, obviously, this was before you. She's like, I don't care. And I was like, what? What? What?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. No, that's the only reason I asked that question. I didn't
Yeah.
expect. I didn't know you were going to say that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I've been with my wife since we were 17. So it's
bananas.
it's been time.
How many
Yeah,
years?
we
Well, 17,
20,
30.
29. It's been 29 this
Jeez,
year.
got me beat,
Yeah, we
man.
were well, we met at our first job, which was at Taco Bell. So we that's where we met.
That's awesome.
and and she asked me out first. So that's how shy of a dude I was back in the day. She asked me to her Sadie Hawkins dance, and that's where it all started. And
Wow,
yeah.
player.
Yeah, man, it's been it's been
That's
fun.
funny.
29 years. I jokingly tell her like, we had a good run, right? We should just call it. She looks at me like, shoot. Oh
Oh
yeah,
man, we are heading into that territory. I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I was telling him, I said, when you're with someone for so long, like I just try to flash back when I was a kid, and
yeah.
you would just, you go to some old people's anniversary or somebody's birthday, and it's a couple who, at the time,
Oh
you
yeah,
can't comprehend. They've been
no,
together 50 years. They're going to redo their vows or whatever. And it's
yeah.
like, now that I've been with my wife 20 years, I'm like, what is that? When you get to that point, like, what does that look like? And I don't mean it as a bad joke or something mean,
No.
but like, man, like they don't.
Hmm.
Ain't no movies about that. No real ones anyway. I ain't talking about the Notebook, but yeah, no, I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know. But anyhow, so you wanted to be a lifeguard, but
yeah.
somewhere in between there was a shift.
I I was not ever into school, Keith. I ain't gonna lie. I'm the one most uneducated guy in your list of people that you've had. But I just was not into school. I would be in class and I'd be looking out the window. I was that kid, like I cannot wait for recess or lunch. I need to get out of
Mm.
this class. I just was never into it. And even through high school, I mean, yeah, I graduated. I, did all my what I had to do. But the day I graduated high school and I got home, my dad already had me an appointment with a counselor at Trade Tech.
My
He's
dad
like,
went there, LA Trade Tech.
yeah, so did my dad, but he went into the service. Long story on that one, but he told me like, okay, you have an appointment with a counselor. Pick a trade, and I'm like, a trade? Like, what is a trade at the
Dang.
time?
He knew
And
already.
he knew. I mean, he probably knew
He
like,
got
yeah, this
letters
kid
about
needs
you
to do
waiting for
something.
recess.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you had these back, but we had progress reports and referrals, and
Oh, yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
I got my dad's signature down to pat. Man, I would sign them, and he would never know because I probably wouldn't be alive if he knew how many I got.
Things didn't go
But
dark for me till high school. That's when
yeah,
we
well, I
moved
mean,
from LA to
yeah,
Palmdale, and I hated it with a passion. And I wasn't even trying to
yeah,
rebel. I just was not interested. And it was such a desolate, and yeah, that's right, AV. I'm going to say it again. It
hmm
was such a desolate environment compared to LA. Like, I was always about the arts. I've said it before
yeah,
on the show. I thought I wanted to be involved in film, all these
hmm
things. And we got out there, and I'm sure they have that stuff out there now, but back then they didn't have anything like that. And I just
yeah,
kind of gave up. I was just like, well, I don't care about math and all this stuff. Like
no,
I would do enough, but like you said, when it was time to go out or go socialize or, hey, let's play basketball after school, I was down to do that
yeah,
stuff. Like, but I didn't want to be a part of the school. But I wasn't
that's.
alone. Like, my friends, none of us, like, oh, let's go try out for the team. Like, I don't want to be, oh,
Mm-mm.
you can't, like, they had these rules where you couldn't wear a Dodger cap because it was gang related.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they
Oh yeah.
any kind of colors, nothing. Even though we were out in the Antelope Valley, the good Antelope Valley back in the 90s, you couldn't wear
Yeah.
anything that was team affiliated hat wise. So you had to wear the
Yeah.
school hat. And my mom's like, "You want me to buy you a hat so you can wear a hat to school?" I'm like, "Hell no, I'm wearing their hat." I'm like, "I'm going
Yeah.
against the man. No. No."
You want to be that kid.
Yeah, I was
No.
that kid. I was that kid. Anti-establishment, always, still am. But yeah, no. So
No,
he
but
uh,
that
he he didn't pick the trade for you, right?
no, well the summers before I would just be chilling at home when we weren't going to Mexico and I'd be bored at home, right? So we had this relative that was what I thought back in the day he was an AC guy. And
Oh, shut up. Okay.
he'd pick me up at my mom's house and then we'd just drive around like Huntington Park, Southgate area, and that's where he knew where because his brother had accounts there. And
Mm.
they were mainly restaurants. So this guy would just go and claim he was doing maintenance, and in return for payment, he would just get fed like from the restaurants. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, I would go with him up to the roof, and he'd look at the unit. And back then, I thought, okay, yeah, he could just tell it's just not working by looking at it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he would look at it, and he'd be like, he'd find a dead capacitor on the floor on the roof, and he'd come down and be like, "Oh yeah, this was bad. We just changed it out, so you guys are good."
Gosh.
Oh man, Keith, talk about scab air, but I mean that
Yeah,
was
for real.
I was like, oh man, this is and back then that's all I saw of air conditioning, changing a belt or something like that. But I had no idea what other trades were. I didn't know what a framer was. I didn't know what a an iron worker was or anything.
Oh
So
no, yeah.
I just told my dad, well, I'll try AC. How hard can that be? It's just a capacitor to belt,
Yeah.
right?
Chinese food,
So, yeah, it's like,
hot Philly
whatever.
cheesesteak at lunch,
Yeah.
pastrami from the hat,
Oh, this is
Oh,
leading
why
up
did
to
I say
how I am the way I am right now. So,
that?
so,
Don't feel
we did
bad. I'm
every
about to chow
restaurant.
down with my daughters. I'm using them as my excuse after we get off of this. I promise you I am. Because now I just
So,
mentioned the hat, and I'm like, we don't have
oh,
a pastrami place here in Georgia at
oh,
all.
you don't have a. They got to open up a hat for you guys
Oh,
over
if
there,
we opened a hat, like again, if I won the lottery, I would talk to the people at
man.
the hat and I go, hey, I just need your recipe. I get it. You don't want to open a
Gee.
spot in Georgia, but I'm going to open,
Oh,
Keith's Pastrami. Like, they don't have it. I have
I
searched.
haven't.
I've searched
Oh,
everywhere. I mean, a
I
lot of
don't know
times
why
you'll
that
find
is.
out here, a lot of times you only find really good stuff like that in the hood, and we don't live anywhere near the hood. So it's usually when I'm at work, it's like, okay, I can find something, but I can't find that. I can't find that. No. You can find a couple of Jewish delis, which are cool, but they don't have that nice, hot, long, greasy pastrami sandwich with the big old bag of fry. Boy, I would tear that
My
up.
thing at the Hat was the chili cheese fries with pastrami, pickles, onions, and tomatoes. Oh, man, I haven't had that in a minute.
Nothing like that here. Nothing like that here. I knew something was up when we moved, we drove cross country, and we got to New Mexico. And shortly, I think it was, I don't remember. Forgive me, people, okay? I know geography, but I don't remember. I think we were in Texas first. I think. But whatever the case, somewhere around Texas and New Mexico, we start seeing all these signs for Tex-Mex. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but whatever.
Yeah.
So the kids got hungry. We were all hungry. And I was like, well, you know what? Let's make an adventure of this. I said, let me look up my phone. Let me Google diners, drive-ins, and dives. Let's just see. Maybe there's a place in New Mexico. I knew from looking around, I'll never come to New Mexico again. I said, I ain't got no family there. I was like, and it's ugly. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We went to this place, and it's Tex-Mex, and I was like, whatever. Guy Fieri, he says, good. You got to get the puffy, these puff things. It wasn't puffy tacos. It was some kind of puff pastry, like appetizer thing. But it was like a huge, way too big family-owned restaurant with banquet rooms and all, old school. And I'm all like gun-ho, like, we're going to a cool spot out of state. This place, as I'm eating the burrito that I got and my wife's eating her food, I said, you notice something familiar about this? And she was like, no, what is it? I said, because I like food and I'm in shape, but I eat for real. And I was like, my taste buds are never wrong. I said, it's almost as though they're using the same seasoning. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, this tastes like a macho combo burrito from Del Taco. And she's like, oh my gosh. I said, yeah. I said, I think this is what Tex-Mex from that. And I might be wrong. But from New Mexico on eastward, no, and I know this is, we were talking about the Hat, but as far as food, California style goes out the window, and they all love Tex-Mex. They think it's the coolest thing ever here in Georgia. And I'm like, how about, like, I think I found like one or two places that have to say California style Mexican food. And I'm like, California style. I'm like, huh. I don't know. And it's funny. I'll admit this. When I first got out here, I'm used to California, right? So there's all races out here. There is, especially when you go to certain parts. But just from being in California my entire life, when I'd run into a Mexican person, it was like, oh, good. Hey, what's going on? Like, good, you're here, And I just assumed just my own, someone could say, that's racist. I don't care. It's just where I was raised. Like, I just assumed they had been to California and they knew better.
And something to compare it to.
Yeah, they had something to compare it to, because I'd ask them, I go, hey, I'm not trying to sound a certain way, but where do you go for good Mexican food? And they would suggest these places that are straight garbage. And I'm like, I would, because of the job, be a Target or something, and I'd come back, or Sprouts. I'd come back, and I'm like, "Hey, that's your best spot." And they were like, "Oh yeah, we go all the time." And I'm like, "Where are you from?" I'm from here, and I'm like, "You're from here, but like, because I'm so used to California, I'm like, but like your family, like where are your roots, man?" And he's like, "Oh no, Mexico," and I'm like, "Okay, but you've never." This is the first place you've ever come to America? And they're like, yeah. Well, Texas. And that was the thing. Texas or Arizona. And I was like, oh, all you've ever known is Tex-Mex, and they're like proud of it. Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's all there is.
heck no. Yeah, like, I haven't been to California since 2018, but when I go back, boy,
Oh
all elastic
man.
pants. It's on.
Yeah, the must. Oh
Elastic
yeah.
pants and sweats, like just chilling,
Jeez.
eating. But
Oh yeah.
so you rolled around with this dude
Yeah.
when you
I
were a
was
kid
a
or right
young.
after high school?
No, it was in high school. So I was
Oh,
already
okay,
in
I
high
got you.
school, rolling around with them in the summertime because I hadn't started working yet. But I was probably a freshman or something like that. Because I started working at Taco Bell when I was a junior, and I was getting credits for high school, and I was getting paid at the same time. It was a program.
I remember
But
that.
yeah, he kind of showed me a little bit of air conditioning stuff, and that's where I just picked air conditioning. So my dad, I just told him, okay, so I did 2 years of AC program at Trade Tech, finished that, and I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do, because obviously all the educational stuff from the school talking about air conditioning, I had no idea what they were talking about. Like I hadn't seen anything like this. So
Mm.
my dad told me, well, if you don't know, then take another 2 years and be an electrician. So
Oh
I
wow.
did another 2 years right after that one and of electrical course. So I graduated that one and I came across at graduation of my first year of air conditioning the name of John Bonaro. I don't know if you know him or know the
Sounds
name, but
familiar. I'm sure my dad knows him.
yeah, he was an old school dude. And he told me, you're not working yet? And I said, no, I just finished the electrical program. Not sure which way I want to go now. And he's like, made a phone call. His wife worked at the hall at 250. And he
Who's his
tells me,
wife?
I don't know her name, but she worked
Oh,
at the
okay.
hall.
Because those
And
people, like my dad knew him like
oh,
super
yeah,
well. What was her name? Sue? He knew
I
Sue.
think so. Well, I know Sue works at the dispatch. I think she still does.
Does she
But
really?
I
Smoked a
think
lot,
she
I
had the last I've
remember.
heard. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. She's been there a
When I
long
was,
time.
yeah, because she was my contact when I was superintendent at Therma, and I was contacting her for new hires. So that's
Hmm.
how I knew she was still there, and that was only a couple years ago.
Wow.
But John Bonaro's wife worked there, and he called her and told her, "Hey, I got this guy that's gonna sign up." And he called me the next day. Your paperwork's ready. Go sign up. And I'm like, what? And I was like, just that easy? So I went to the hall and got my paperwork and waited for a phone call from a contractor hiring.
How
And
long did that
I
take?
went not long at all because I was working for a non-union electrical company that was right behind Trade Tech, and they were always looking for new guys. And man, that I worked there for over the summer until I got a call from LA Air, Los Angeles Air Conditioning, called me and they said, "Hey, you
Oh,
looking for
yeah.
work?" I said, "Yeah," and they're like, "When can you start?" I'm like, "I can start tomorrow." They told me, they said,
Yeah.
"Great." So I walked over to my foreman and told him, "Hey, man, I'm out. Like, I'm going union." And I called their office, had my check ready by the time I passed their shop, and never turned back. And I just went the AC way
Hmm.
and got in the apprenticeship. Did the 5 years there, which was another school I barely escaped through.
I think
But
we all, yeah.
oh, I mean, you're talking to a kid that's never seen this, so I was like, even through the apprenticeship, I was lost. Like, I didn't know what an oil failure switch was or anything like that. It's
A
just,
lot of
it was
those
just a,
dudes don't or didn't
yeah, and
back
I
then.
still don't. I mean, I never got into the service side, so I did the piping,
Oh,
as
that's
you know.
right. Yeah, you guys were heavy on startup. That's right.
I was
Yeah.
never a service guy. So I had to, right? I was on call and did service calls as an apprentice and doing maintenances, and it just was not for me because I did not like the hours. I didn't like starting late, getting off late. And when I
Mm-hmm.
got the first opportunity to be on a construction job, it's like, oh, we get to start at 6, 5 a.m. I'm like, dude, this is perfect. And I made sure I was good at what I was doing at the time, and they gave me the opportunity to run jobs, and that's where it all took off from. But all it was is just piping,
How old
either
were you when
grooving.
you started running these jobs?
I'm bad with years and dates like that, Keith. So I'm gonna say I was probably in my early 20s,
Hmm.
where I was finally they were. I mean, it was all TI work, tenant improvement. For those that don't know what TI is, but it's just office spaces, reheat coils, split systems, easy stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But until we started getting into grooving black steel pipe and running that kind of stuff, which I enjoy. I mean, like you mentioned in your other podcast, my line of work, I don't feel like it's work to me. Like I enjoy what I
Oh
do.
man, you do listen.
I
Yeah.
I did not. This line of work to me does not feel like work. Like I enjoy going to
You
work.
know, I could
And
tell that when we were doing that job at CSUN. That's what was interesting about you because I didn't know you. I just knew Adrian.
yeah,
He's like, he's
right.
cool, whatever. And I was like, all
Yeah.
right. You know how Adrian is. He's like, he's cool. He's my brother. He's from
Yeah.
whatever. Sorry, clean podcast. I won't cuss. Yeah. And I remember I met you and you just knew so much. And, I only knew Adrian from school spitting out
Yeah.
sunflower seeds and just
Oh
talking
yeah.
stuff. And when we got on the job, he's telling these other dudes, no, go pressure test this. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
the heck? I was like, you're in my year. I think we were like second year apprentices or something. And I was like,
Yeah.
and he goes, oh, dude, I've been doing this under the table for Dell with
Yeah.
my brother for years. And I was like, oh, you had a head. He's one of the first. There was a lot of guys like that. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you had a head start. And he's like, oh, yeah, my brother's been doing this for years. And I was like, see, you and I are around the same age, or we are the same age.
Yeah.
I started doing this in 98. It's a long story. I think I might have touched on it before. I started doing it in 98. I worked for Hussman. And then I got out because I didn't like this, kind of like what you're saying. I didn't like the service culture. And back then it was
Right.
way different from what it is now. Now we're in such high demand. I was just talking to a guy about this yesterday. We're in such high demand and there's nobody that wants to do this line of work, this new generation that now they're 23, 24. And when they do come to do it, they're bums. Like they're,
Oh man.
I
got a
left my
story about
shoes
that.
at home, just,
I mean, there was these young kids. Now that you touched base on that, I was at a job site just recently, and this was at this company where I'm at now, and I've only been here since June. This young kid I don't know what trade they were doing, but this kid, okay, Disney movies, right?
yeah.
And the Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
And the employees that work at the plant,
I
and
know
they
what
look
you're going to
like,
say.
those dirty. He had his hard hat on crooked. His vest was barely on.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
knew
this
you were going to
kid,
say that.
this kid is standing there with his other partner, and they're both young. They look like they're barely 20. And I could hear him talking, and this kid is talking like, man, I'm working way too much. Like, I should be out there living my life. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, this kid has no idea. Like, he's over here complaining already, and he's just getting started. Like, it's just their mentality nowadays. Now these apprentices that come in is just, it's just, mind-boggling. I can't believe it. Like, they have no drive. It's like they just know someone that got them in the trade, and they're not really interested in learning it. They're
No,
just
they're
here like
not.
it's a Home Depot job. No knock on the employees at Home Depot, but that's always what we've said before.
Or Amazon, for that matter.
Yeah,
their whole
exactly.
logic. I had a young guy tell me a while back. He goes, "Dude, this sucks," and I was like, "Well, but I'm trying to give the whole spiel, like,
Right.
a lot of, like, I was talking to my buddy yesterday. I have a friend from church, my buddy Joe from Florida. He's like, these young people, they're not hungry, and he works with his hands too. He's like, they're not hungry, like they don't. And it's not that they're, have a golden spoon, but they just don't have drive because they haven't had to. They live in a social climate where they don't. I mean, they do have to, but they're going to realize it much later in life and beg the government for it. And I said, I don't want to get on nothing political, but yeah, it's right. It's true. They want all the homes to be $100,000 so they can afford it and still work at Amazon, and Amazon pay them $35 an hour because it's just not fair. Things cost too much, but that's not the way the world works.
No,
Eventually, it has to get painful because you chose to not go to college and chill out. I mean, that's what a lot of us did in some way or fashion. But we realized, oh, well, because I made that decision, I got, like you say, I have to go pick up a trade. You were kind of thrown into it, it sounds like, but I knew for myself. Yeah. I knew my dad told me. He said, I had my first daughter and I was still out there trying to, do my office job thing. I sold insurance and I did a lot of stuff. And he goes, it was when you had your second daughter. He goes, I already started calling my friends, because he's in the local 250. He retired out of it. He's like, I started calling everybody going, hey, you guys hiring? I go, you did? And he goes, yeah. He goes, what? Kaylin was born in 08, my second daughter. And I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, you came back in 08, right? He goes, you called me like 2 months to the day that I started calling these people, and you ended up going to Tyler Refrigeration because of my buddy. And I was like, yeah, because like life hits you in the stomach and you go, well, as a man, I have to go work a real job, like start looking at the future. These young people will go, just go work at Amazon, dude, and make $17 an hour out here in Georgia. Yeah. Like they think that's good money. And I'm like, that's an option, but do you see it as a career? And they're like, career? No, I'm just living for now. Like I'm talking about right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then you got the YouTube people that are showing these kids, you can just open boxes and make millions of dollars, get followers. And it's like, no, it's not real life. Like,
no.
Yeah.
The way I was raised by my dad, and he was strict, man. My dad was old school strict. He didn't sugarcoat anything. Like I mean, the way I am is because of him. And he would always instill into me, like, every time if you get a job, you just got to work hard and don't, stand around. Just always stay busy. Show up on time. Show up early. That's one thing that my kids laugh at me because everywhere we go, we're always early. 15 minutes or more. Always on time.
Gotta be.
And it's like, that's just the way I was, but even I instill that into my daughters. Like, you guys got to go early, be there, on time. Don't be showing up right at the time you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're already late. Yeah.
You're already late. That's what I tell my apprentices. If you guys aren't 15 minutes early, if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. Mm-hmm. If you show up on time, you're late in my book.
And they think you're being over the top saying that, but no, you're helping them out in life in general. You're right. Yeah. You know how many times I have almost wanted to bang a pot in a hotel room going, get up. We got to go. You guys want to be in the park by such and such time. We're on vacation. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. I'm going to go down, I'm up at 5 a.m. I went to the hotel gym. I found coffee already. I'm chilling. And I'm like, all right, it's cool. Because I don't care. I'm cool with just walking around the town. I don't need to go into the park because we've been here so many dang on times. I'm trying to find a good Puerto Rican place to eat lunch. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I don't care. And I spent the money for the tickets already. I'll just count it as a loss. Yep. Like, I'm whatever. And, they get up late and, it's a 2-hour wait. I go, yeah, it is. Sure is. I wonder. But when we're early, they go, oh, man. I always lean over. I go, can you imagine if we showed up at 11 a.m. like you guys really want it? Well, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I always tell them time rolls downhill. It always does. What you put off now, you don't get away with it. It just rolls downhill and you have to deal with it later. Like, no. And this young generation, they miss that memo. They're waiting for the government to just give it to them because it's not fair. They can get their fair share.
I don't know if it's, and I don't know if there is, but I'm sure a lot of people depend on a lot of the assistance that is provided for them now. It makes it so much easier for people to get by.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't know. Maybe I don't even know if it was available back when I was growing up, but I always told myself, like, I just gotta always have a job.
We weren't raised that way. Like, our parents, my dad wouldn't let me, like, shh. Any government assistance? I remember when I had to go on unemployment, man, I felt like I had food stamps. Not any knock on anyone who has to use food stamps.
No.
But like, and it's not even that it was beneath me. It's just I knew better. Like, you get your butt up and go to work. But there was a point where if no one's hiring, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, it wasn't my first option. I'll put it that way. Yeah. No.
So after I finished my trade tech years, and I got into trade, I mean, that's just, that's all I did. That was it. I mean, and once I got into piping, I kind of felt like I was stuck at integrated because that's all I ever did. So I'm thinking, man, if I ever have to leave this company, I don't know any service. Who's going to want to hire a journeyman or a foreman that only does piping, right? So that's why I always felt stuck. And I never moved until my brother finally made the decision and he went to another company. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to bounce. I just put in my 2-week notice. At the Christmas party, he did this. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta wait this out. I can't go nowhere. No one's gonna want to hire me. I could already see the interview going south. Like, oh, you don't know any troubleshooting skills? Like,
nobody's gonna hire you. I mean,
That's just my mentality. I
get
to this day, Keith. I'm just always hard on myself. Like, I don't think I'm qualified to even be a foreman sometimes. But people are like, dude, what? Like,
that's a syndrome.
Too hard on yourself.
That's a syndrome. I was listening to a podcast, and you're not alone on that. I think everybody has a little bit of that, unless you're a severe narcissist and you think you're perfect. Hey, for real. There's a guy it's Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla, the Dr. Drew and Adam show. It's a good show. You should check it out. Give him a shout out. I don't know him personally, but someone called in, and I forget what the syndrome's called, but Dr. Drew was talking about it, and he said, you'd be amazed how many very successful people in the corporate world or, like us, they feel like they're getting away with murder and they don't deserve the title or they don't deserve the recognition or whatever. And I was listening to that, and I was like, I'm driving my work truck and I'm like, that feels like me. I'm like, I don't deserve this. Like, these people. Now, I did test, because out here you have to test out for where they place you. And I did it fair, square, legit, all that good stuff. But, a test versus real life is something different. And, so you're not alone in that. Everybody has some of that. The ones who say they don't, I don't know. But But so you left eventually and you went to this other place. I assume you're not saying the names of the company on purpose, right?
I mean, I know you don't like mentioning names of companies, but I
don't necessarily care too much. But I guess I don't know. I don't know all the legal ramifications. This is still new, so.
Yes, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, that's nothing bad, I mean, we know Integrated is no longer. Therma is no longer. They got bought out by another company. So, so I left Therma, and then I ended up following my brother to Allison because they wanted to build up a construction department. So I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. My first opportunity to go to a company that doesn't have a department of what I've been doing and what I'm good at. So I just put in my 2-week notice, and I went to Allison, and we were there for 2 years until they ran out of work. And I'm like, I don't want to do service, so I'm just going to make a move. And I reached out to this buddy of mine that I worked for his dad at Integrated for all those years. And his son works at this new company called ACS, where John Baker is the owner.
Oh, I know John Baker. Yeah.
So he's a real cool dude. He was my instructor when I was in the apprenticeship. But man, I wish I would have went with him at the time. He's the oldest
non-old dude in the trade that I know. So, and you know what, guys? I'm realizing this as you're talking and I'm talking, but oh well. There's going to be some people. I challenge you, listen to this entire episode. I know you're going to think, there's just two blue-collar dudes talking shop. But so what? Like, we're funny. We're cool. No, it's funny. 6 degrees of separation. So that guy went to work for Hussman. Like, I don't know how old he is. He on paper he should be 60, but I know he's not.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's very successful. This guy, just background for you
Smart.
people, really smart, owns his own company. He looks like he's in his 40s, but he can't be, because he said something about in the 80s, him and some other dude went on with Hussman Refrigeration, and they didn't like the hours. And these guys who had, motorcycles, toy haulers, all this stuff, they all worked for Hussman, but they worked like 70 hours a week. He goes, your dad is the one that gave me a shot, because he saw my last name. Just again, and I probably haven't laid this out. I'm going to have my dad on. I told him, my dad's a cool guy. He was in Local 250. He was he first worked for ACO, and then he went to this, golly, now I'm really probably going to lose the women. No offense, women. He went to work for Air Mechanical, this company back in the 80s. I remember his brown uniform. And then he went to work for Hussman, who also had a brown uniform at the time. And somewhere around the early or late 80s, early 90s, Baker came on the scene. This guy, cool dude, nice guy, nicest guy in the world. Gentle giant, I call him. He's kind of a big dude. At least I remember him that way. He goes, Bowers, your dad is Hollis Bowers? And I go, yeah. And he goes, and you're his firstborn? I go, yeah. Like, I used to not say anything, kind of like you say Monsters, Inc. Like the same way, who is it? Not Mike Krasowski, but what's the other one's name? The blue one? Sully Sullivan. Yeah, JP Sullivan or whatever his name was. Yeah. I only know because I just watched it the other night. Just me and my wife. No kids. We were the Sullivans. Like, that's just what I came from. And he's like, oh my gosh. He goes, your dad, man, he showed me everything I knew. And I was like, my dad? And then I told my dad, he goes, you met Baker, huh? And I was like, that dude owns his own ACS. I was like, he owns his own company. It was a couple other dudes. And he's like, yeah, tell him I said hello. I said, yeah, he said the same thing to you. But, interesting. So you got trained by him. I only met him because I didn't go to class one night and had to make up a class, and he happened to be the guy. And I was like, this dude is a nerd. I was like, what the hell? I was like, because when we were in there, it was like, you just work on the stuff you have, like, from other classes. You just serving your time, right? Like being in jail. And this dude was like, he's a big man. He's not Mike Tyson, but he has a light voice. And he's like, you over there, Mr. Bowers. And I'm like, hey, dude, like, I'm trying to, you know how it is working the job. I'm like, I don't even have time for regular life. I'm using this as a plus because I got assignments and stuff I need to work on that, And he's like, I'm trying to teach you guys. Like, he was trying to teach a class because there's always one person that raises their hand. Can you tell me how a start capacitor works? And I'm like, what? All right. And he goes, you're not paying attention. I got some questions for you after class. And I'm like, dude, it is not that serious. But as I came to know him, I was like, oh, this dude's no joke. Good guy. Very good guy.
Yeah, really good guy. I've only seen him at school and then at the golf tournament that he hosts that I was fortunate enough to be invited by Western States to, participate in those tournaments. Me and my brother's been playing in those for the last 8 years.
Wow.
Because of our buddy at Western States invites them every year. And I was fortunate enough to go the last two. And the last one, I was wearing a Polo Allison shirt. And one of the guys that was in one of the tee boxes was like, who wears an Allison shirt to a ACS tournament, right? Just giving me a hard time about it.
Yeah.
And little did I know, not even 6 months later, here I am working for them. But, it's a great company, the best company I've ever worked for. They treat their guys so good here. I'm not used to it. I'm just waiting for the punchline one day. Like, that was just to get you guys here, But it's a great company. I love it here. They
Suck
are
it
so
up, man.
dude.
Our
I feel
company's
like
in
I
a
still got
transition right
another.
now. I had that
Really?
situation. Yeah, I had that situation when I first got out here. I've been with them 7 years. And in this last year, they put cameras in our trucks.
Yeah, that's a standard now.
That's what, well, we've been hearing that in California. And it makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes their insurance go down. They hide behind the safety veil. We just want you guys to get home safe, whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's an insurance break for them, of course. That's obviously the reason they want it there. But I mean, there is a company that does really watch them, and I got a buddy of mine that works for a company that got a call that, hey, you want to look at this video? Like, you just rolled a stop, and it's like right by his house. He lives in a corner house, and like nobody stops at that stop sign. But they, it's just some guys shouldn't even be looking at it that close. Like, you should be out there really getting this work, not
Nah,
eye
I
bugging this
know, I
camera.
know. We have like 3. I was just talking to my brother yesterday because I won't get into it
Yeah.
on this, but we're in a transition, and I was telling him, I said, I'm out with my ankle here for 6 weeks, and it gives you time to think. It really, really does. I said, and you know what? I said, there's a part that showed up to my house that got delivered, and I was like, I looked at that. There was so much anger when I saw that part. I was just like, what? I'm out of work. Like, I mean, I still have a job, everyone, but I was just like, how dare you interrupt my time of being out of work? Like, I don't even want to see you. Like, I see the work truck and I'm like, yeah, you stupid camera. You can't record anything. You're probably coming on because it'll just come on for no reason. And I'm like, yeah, you can't record nothing. That's right. I'm not taking the truck to go get wood so I can do my woodwork. Nope. Can't do that anymore. Did I say that on record?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So there is an escape that everyone out here, and when I say everyone, other companies, like everyone's kind of running to this one big company. And I've been trying to hold out because, we have a guy like you've seen Tommy Boy, Big John Tom or Tom Callahan or whatever from Callahan Brake Pads. He's retiring. He's retiring, and we got a new guy who's coming on who is he's not him. Good guy, but he's not him. And a lot of people have decided, I'm out as soon as he actually retires. And I'm like the one person, but being out of work now, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, my whole point is if you're with a good company, enjoy it. That goes for anyone who's with a good company. Don't get greedy and, want more than you need to ask for. But
100%.
Yeah, no. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Frank. It's my favorite question. Have you ever had a job that was so bad that you forgot you were even getting paid to do it? It could be the entire time you were there, or a week, a day, a work day. You just forgot, oh yeah, I'm getting paid to do this. It literally just felt like you're on a chain gang in a jail breaking rocks.
I can't say that I've came across a situation like that. I've had some jobs because all I've ever done is this trade.
That's right.
And I've mentioned before that I love my job. I love what I do. So it doesn't feel like I'm going to work. But there have been some job sites that we've come across where it's just like, oh, I dreaded getting up to go to this particular job to deal with this particular superintendent that makes your life hard. But I can't even think of one incident that was that bad where I would regret, doing what I was doing, or I couldn't believe I was getting paid to do. I hate to say, but I don't think I could answer that one because I don't think I can remember one job that was that bad.
First timer.
I don't think so.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I wish. I've had so many jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this trade since I got out of high school pretty much because I went to trade tech right away. So I didn't really have, I mean, other than Taco Bell, I worked at Sears as a shoe salesman. So,
You as
that
a
is no
shoe
joke.
salesman, really?
That is no joke. I literally sold shoes at Sears per commission. That
I feel like
was,
you had hair back then. He has a shaved head, you
I
guys.
did. I
I bet you
did. I
did. I bet
did.
you did.
I, oh, and my hair is like a chia pet. If I did not wear a beanie at night, I could not comb it. It was just straight out. So you got the visual there, man. And it was, I've had nights where my beanie would fall off and I'm like, I cannot go to school like this. Like, it was
What?
just
Your
setting up.
beanie? You wore a beanie so that you could.
That's
What?
how straight and hard my hair would grow out, Keith. It's no joke, dude. I could not comb it.
Now
Like,
let
I
me
would
ask. Let me
use,
ask a personal question then, Mr. Frank, because
mhm.
with such strong genes and hair
Yeah,
growth, it seems,
yeah.
are you so blessed, let's say, that
Mhm.
you shave your head by choice, not by necessity?
Yes.
You son of a you
Since the day I
son.
graduated high school, I
You
have
mean to
had
tell
my
me you have
hair.
a full luscious head of lettuce that you just don't want? You just don't care
Oh,
about it?
it's just peppered now, because it's got that white in it, and
Oh, of course.
it's yeah, yeah. But
Wow.
it grows. Yeah, I intentionally keep it short because I did not want to deal with it. The day I signed up for Trade Tech, I said, okay, I'm not working in an office. I don't need to be combing my hair and looking pretty and stuff. But so I was like, this
Oh,
is
that's
out.
what it
This is
was.
gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I've been I haven't paid for a haircut since I was in high school.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Oh man. Okay. Well, man. So,
Yeah.
you've been doing this for what was the total?
24.
24
20,
years, and it sounds like you wouldn't change a thing other than
I wouldn't change it.
being
Yeah,
on a
and if I
farm.
could have exactly, if I had the opportunity to go back and go that route, I would do it in a heartbeat. But yeah, it's been a blessing. This job has obviously provided for my family, and it's great. But what blows my mind is like I went down this path, right? I'm pretty sure I'm successful now in what I do, but it just seems like why can I not? What blows my mind and it bugs me is that I cannot go on vacations. I can't seem to take time off.
Oh, you're one of
And
those.
I see these people that go on vacation, their houses are been handed down by their parents and they didn't have to like struggle. And it just, yeah, I'm just being, jealous of that. But it's like I see people that do not have careers and are traveling to Italy and Spain. And I'm like, how? Like, what? Like, where did I go wrong that I can't do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have Disney passes, so I do have choices of
Oh, you're
spending
gonna
my
go ahead
money
and throw
where,
that out there. I get you. All
yeah,
right. All right. I
you
know.
know. But it's
Man,
frustrating. Social media just drives me nuts at that point because I'm like, how in the heck are
I
they in
understand.
Hawaii right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And no one knew how well the other person was doing until social media.
oh,
And dare I say, no one still knows how good they're
I,
doing because we don't, like I always tell people, especially with cars, what? They
hmm
got a Range Rover, or they got a,
yeah,
big old truck. Credit rules the world. You don't know how much money someone's in
uh,
debt.
yeah,
The
you're right.
Disney trips, the all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have good credit, but I'm so anti paying for something on credit. Like it
yeah.
turns my stomach when my wife's like, "Well, we could just." I'm like, "Nope, nope." Like,
My wife's famous words is just charge it. We'll pay it at the end of the month. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. We're better. I'll give my wife credit. We're better now. But man, both of us when we were young, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, man.
yeah.
Not a good deal. And with our trade, it just means I'll work some overtime. And
hmm
every time I've said
Yeah.
that, the overtime just ain't there. It's like, oh damn. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
thought we've been busy and we're slowing down right now.
And
Um,
once I started working at Taco Bell though, it's like I never stopped, Keith. Like I'm talking I wasn't like the party guy. We never went to clubs. Me and my wife went to one club when we were 18. in Hollywood, and we went to a couple in Vegas because we were there, but we're not that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to go out, but I just never made time for that lifestyle. Like, I was just always the guy, like, oh,
you
want
went to adult mode.
Dude, when I was in high school, I felt like when I graduated high school, I was probably 40 years old already. It's like, dude, I just was that.
Which isn't a bad. It's not a bad thing. It's not. I was not that guy, but I understand
it. The people that tell me that are the people who partied. So it's like I never experienced that. Oh, you're not missing nothing. It's overrated. I'm like, yeah, it comes from somebody who never. Yeah, because they did it. They got it out of their system. I never did.
I mean. Yeah, I did the trade.
Your brother's Callie, right?
Yeah, Kelly Bowers.
Your brother's name is Callie. Yeah, I remember seeing him at the apprenticeship when I was starting there. I remember seeing him walking through there.
I would imagine, times. It sounds like you guys were right around the same time. You would have had to have been.
I think he turned out before I did, but I remember seeing him because he was that guy that everybody seemed to know. And I was like,
oh, big guy. Always laughing. He's a fun dude. He's a fun
always
dude.
Looked like he was in a good mood for some reason, but I'm like, oh,
very, very jolly man. Yeah.
I never had the pleasure to meet him, but I remember seeing him there.
Yeah, he was in with Vince. He was in with Vince.
Vince who?
Vince.
Vince Guerrero.
Guerrero, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So me and Vince were in the same class. We were in the same until they separated. Yeah, because we started together, but then when you're in refrigeration,
they split
you went a different.
Yeah,
right.
It was crazy. They're all dead, all of them. I don't know, but thank you, man. Thank you. I know it took a lot for you to be on here, like you said. I appreciate the time. Everybody's time is valuable. This costs you. I always tell people when they come on, count on about an hour to an hour and a half of your time, but it won't feel that way. I hope it didn't feel that way.
No.
And I mean, man, you were one of the first people that reached out. Jeez, like 2-3 weeks in. I mean, you're a day oneer in my boat. So
appreciate it, man. It was fun. I had a blast.
Yeah, for sure. Frank told me, I found out I was doing this episode probably about 10 minutes before it happened. He just texted me like, hey, I can talk now. I was like, oh, what?
I didn't have any notes, so everything was just winging it, so.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. Yeah, no. Oh, man. I was on painkillers. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I didn't make, usually the process. I make notes specific to the guest, because I know you. If it's a stranger, I haven't had a stranger on yet. But,
what? I just, before you end it, I was talking to my daughter because there's one thing I want to talk about, but she wants to do what you wanted to get into at an early age, and she's the 16-year-old, and she wants to get into like the movie industry, editing stuff, kind of stuff, but she doesn't know what avenues to take, and I'm like, I have no idea which way to direct her in. But
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't know if you would like to have a young.
I would. No. That's it gives me chills because my younger daughter, the one that's in marching band, she's the same way. She's like, Daddy, I don't know what I want to do. And she's such an innocent, the one with the really nice really nice boyfriend. He is the coolest dude. That's how you know God is real. He puts people in your life and in your kid's life. I'll give him a shout out, Mr. Hector. He's the nicest dude I ever met as a teenager. But anyway, I get it. I am totally down. That is one avenue. We all know at a certain age where I won't say screwed up, but the routes we took and the why we took them and all that stuff. But young people are still full of hope. They still think they can take over the world. They still believe in this thing. And I have a lot of sappy imagination type dreams with this podcast that I just don't speak about. And one of those is somebody high and mighty will hear your daughter or my daughter give their testimony and go, oh, well, they're not aware of, we went through the apprenticeship. I always relate it to a trade. They're not aware of the internship. So anyhow, you guys get home safe. I assume you're commuting. Don't fall asleep. Get home. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.